I'm Aisha Hassan, 40 years old, and for 10 years, I've carried the sterile sting of a family betrayal that derailed my medical dreams and forced me to prescribe a new treatment. It was the spring of 2015, a mild September morning in Perth, the air fresh with the scent of eucalyptus from Kings Park and the distant hum of traffic along St. George's Terrace, when I faced my cousin, Dr. Khalid Hassan, in the consultation room of our family clinic, Hassan Health, a modest practice in the CBD. The room, with its clinical charts, stethoscope on the desk, and the faint beep of a monitor, had been my healing haven during the relentless 12-hour shifts that defined my early career, a place where the rhythm of heartbeats and the precision of diagnoses had fueled my passion. But that day it turned into a ward where my ambitions were discharged under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights. I was 30 then, a dedicated doctor with a talent for patient care, my proposed clinic expansion, featuring a wellness program, a partnership with local hospitals, and a detailed proposal I drafted, winning a Western Australian Health Award and catching the eye of healthcare officials, my empathy earning nods of respect among the nursing staff who saw me as the clinic's future. I joined Hassan Health in 2013 after completing my residency at the University of Western Australia, bringing a fresh approach to a practice bogged down by outdated methods, manual records, limited services, a turnover rate nearing 15%, my name a quiet hope among staff who believed I could stitch together new growth. But that morning, as I presented a detailed plan for a community health initiative highlighting preventative care, a collaboration with Royal Perth Hospital, and a pilot program I designed to secure a $150,000 state health grant and elevate the family name, Khalid's demeanor shifted from cousin to competitor, his posture stiffening as he adjusted his stethoscope. "You'll never lead this clinic, Aisha. Stick to taking vitals," he scoffed, his voice cutting through the hum of the air purifier, his eyes narrowing with a mix of rivalry and authority as he tapped my proposal with a pen. He admitted, with a cold chuckle that sent a chill through me, that he'd stolen my plan, submitting it under his name to the grant committee just days before my presentation, securing the funding and a feature in the West Australian that lauded his medical innovation. To bury me, he orchestrated my demotion with fabricated accusations, misdiagnoses based on altered charts, unprofessional conduct from a staged argument over a patient, backed by a loyal receptionist he'd pressured, and a conveniently timed server crash that lost my digital files, which I'd stored in a secure folder that appeared corrupted after an IT update. Our uncle, the clinic's patriarch, swayed by Khalid's 7-year tenure, his ties to a pharmaceutical donor who'd funded the office's upgrade, and my lack of allies, my files gone, leaving me defenseless, upheld his decision in 2016, reassigning me to administrative tasks, my reputation tarnished across Perth's medical circle as unreliable and overzealous, a scar that clung to me like a bandage. My partner, Omar, a gentle paramedic with a love for fishing and a calm demeanor, supported me, but our savings dwindled under medical bills, our dream of a beachside home with a garden fading into the cramped reality of a flat with faded curtains, a wobbly table, and a noisy fan that whirred through the nights. Those words, "Never leave this clinic, stick to taking vitals," became a relentless echo, a haunting refrain that reverberated through every chart I filed, every pulse I checked, every moment I stood alone in the records room, the sound mingling with the hum of printers and the shuffle of footsteps. I can still feel the weight of those early months after the demotion, sitting at that wobbly table in our flat, the Swan River visible through the window a reminder of my lost leadership, as I flipped through medical journals and job listings in the Australian, the ink smudging my fingers with each turn of the page, my eyes burning with exhaustion after sleepless nights replaying Khalid's betrayal. The flat, with its second-hand furniture, a rickety chair Omar had salvaged from a sale, a couch with a torn cushion he'd patched with tape, and a single window overlooking a busy street where ambulances roared, felt a world apart from the consultation room I'd envisioned, its air heavy with the lingering scent of antiseptic and coffee I'd brought home on my coat, a reminder of the life I'd lost. Omar took on extra shifts, calls in Fremantle, transports in Joondalup, his evenings spent resting under a flickering lamp, the scent of saline and tea a testament to his sacrifice, while I pieced together a fragile existence with part-time nursing in Rockingham, telehealth gigs in Mandurah, and weekend shifts at a pharmacy in Subiaco, each patient a fight to reclaim my practice. Every dollar a step toward survival in a city where clinic rents climbed and medical dreams felt out of reach. Our son, Yusuf, born in 2017 after years of hoping, grew up surrounded by bandages turned into toys, charts stacked beside his crib, his childish questions a tender ache. "Why don't you fix people anymore, Mummy?" he'd ask, his small hands tracing the edges of my award certificate. I'd smile through the lump in my throat, spinning tales of new ways to heal the world. But the truth gnawed at me. Khaled had blacklisted me, his narrative of my instability spreading to hospitals and clinics, his influence a barrier to my advancement, leaving me stuck in the admin of a career I'd once led. Khaled's career prospered in the years that followed. By 2019, he'd expanded Hassan Health into a regional network, his name etched on awards from the Australian Medical Association, his wealth evident in a riverside mansion in Nedlands, a holiday unit in Rottnest Island, and a leased SUV for his rounds. He hosted lavish medical galas at the Perth Convention Centre, his wife Fatima dazzling and formal, were at charity events for healthcare, his daughter Zara rising as a medical student at UWA, while I rebuilt quietly, starting a small telehealth service by 2018 from our flat. My clients grew, families in Bunbury, elderly in Geraldton, who valued my care, my reputation a quiet undercurrent in Perth's medical scene, passed along at community centres and online forums. But the wound deepened with every milestone of Khaled's success, his smug talks at the Royal Australasian College of Physicians, Fatima's Instagram posts from Margaret River, Zara's internship at a top hospital, each a fresh incision. Our uncle, who passed in 2021, had believed Khaled's lies, his final years dimmed by his version of events, his will favoring Khaled with the clinic, leaving me a token share. Yusuf, now an 8-year-old fascinated by first aid kits, wrestled with confusion, his early interests shadowed by Khaled's influence, his questions about my work strained by his cousin's favor in the family. Omar's unwavering support, his hand-stitched fishing nets, his late-night tales over cups of mint tea, his repairs of our noisy fan, kept me anchored, his love a steady pulse in the chaos. The turning point came 2 years ago, in 2023, when the first cracks in Khaled's polished facade appeared. His clinic faced lawsuits over misdiagnosis, staff posted viral complaints on X about overwork, and a whistleblower exposed falsified patient records into the West Australian exposé. At 38, with my hands trembling from years of paperwork, I began my discreet investigation, contacting old nurses over coffee at cafes in Leaderville. I'd meet them in the early mornings, my notebook a shield, listening to their tales of Khaled's decline, exhausted teams, neglected protocols, a culture of fear, over plates of croissants and flat whites. Last month, on July 20th, 2025, I sat with Priya, a former nurse who'd left in 2022, at a cafe in Mount Lawley, the hum of traffic a faint backdrop. Her trembling hands passed me a USB drive. "He's faltering. Stolen plans, fake records, pressure on us to hide errors," she whispered, her voice thick with regret. "That program was yours, Aisha." My pulse raced. This was the evidence I'd waited for. On August 10th, 2025, I contacted Ravi, a journalist with the West Australian who'd uncovered medical scandals with a sharp eye, meeting him at his cluttered office in East Perth. We pored over the USB, photos of my 2015 proposal draft, detailed logs of Khaled's theft, emails hinting at bribed auditors. "This could suspend him," Ravi said, his voice a mix of excitement and caution. "But we need the right diagnosis." On August 22nd, 2025, I dug deeper, turning our flat into a detective's lair. Amid charts and stethoscopes, I accessed public records online, my fingers stiff but resolute. At 10 a.m., I found it, a 2024 audit report buried in the WA Health Department archives, tied to my plan, now linked to a malpractice scandal that cost the clinic $200,000 in fines. My hands shook as I printed it, the past merging with the present in a surge of clarity. That morning, at 10:55 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on September 6, 2025, I sat by my window, the Perth skyline a soft glow, plotting my next move. The Western Australian Health Awards were on September 20th, a glittering event to mask Khaled's decline. I'd attend, not as the vitals taker, but as his reckoning. What he didn't know was I transformed my pain into a prescription of justice, dosed by 10 years of resilience. The 4 weeks leading to the awards were a meticulous diagnosis of strategy and discretion, my days running the telehealth service a facade for the revenge prescribing in my mind. By August 25, 2025, our flat, its walls lined with charts faded by humidity, its table cluttered with proposal drafts stained with ink, its air tinged with the scent of antiseptic and tea, became my treatment room where every penciled note and chart review fueled my resolve. Ravi and I met nightly, his recorder open on my wobbly table as we dissected the USB and audit reports, the software of the fan a rhythm to our planning. My 2015 wellness program, with its preventative focus and hospital tie-in, had one call at his grant, its success a cornerstone of his rise, while my care tweaks, mental health screenings I'd proposed, had been misused, leading to the 2024 scandal. Prius data revealed a pattern: stolen plans from 2016, falsified records in 2021, a cover-up of a 2023 patient error hushed with auditor bribes, a fragile clinic on the edge. I contacted Dr. Singh, a retired physician who'd clashed with Khalid over a 2019 ethics dispute, his authoritative voice joining us via a crackling Zoom call from his home in Bunbury. "This could revoke his license. Hit him mid-speech," he advised, his tone laced with old grudges. I nodded, my plan a treatment crafted from 10 years of suppressed fury, each step a memory of lost patience, stolen credit, shattered trust. The awards, set for 7 p.m. on September 20th, 2025, at the Perth Convention Centre, would be Khalid's platform, a gathering of doctors, nurses, media, and officials, all drawn by the promise of prestige under the venue's sleek atrium. I'd pose as a retired doctor, my white coat swapped for a modest outfit with a hidden pocket, my movements slow with a cane to conceal my intent, my dark hair in a neat bun a symbol of my enduring care. My task was to deliver the evidence to Ravi, who'd signaled Dr. Singh's medical board contacts at 8 p.m., timed with Khalid's acceptance speech, ensuring maximum exposure. I secured an invitation through Yusuf, now an 8-year-old who'd impressed a judge's son at a school health fair, his email on August 28th a laminated pass I clutched like a thermometer, his note reading, "You're my healer, mummy." He suspected nothing, his curiosity a tool I'd wield with care. Preparation was a rigorous checkup, a blend of physical discipline and emotional steel. I practiced my shuffle daily along the Swan River, perfecting a weary gait and a warm, unassuming smile that masked my burning resolve, my cane tapping a rhythm of patience against the path. I rehearsed lines, just here to honor medical heritage, though each word carried the weight of Khalid's betrayal, Omar's steadfast love, and Yusuf's silent pride in my past. Physically, I reviewed cases and practiced diagnoses daily, my hands protesting, but each exam strengthened my will to stand tall that night. I revisited old mementos, proposal drafts from 2015, a faded photo with Omar at a clinic event, a stethoscope Yusuf decorated, a rejected grant proposal, each a spark in my fire. One night, I found a corrupted file from the server crash, its data lost, and wept, the lost program fueling my fury. I tracked Yusuf's life, his first aid practice, his friendship with a boy named Ethan, hoping this act would secure his future free from Khalid's shadow. On September 17th, Khalid called, his tone smooth with false warmth. "Aisha, the awards are ours. Bring Yusuf. Let's heal old wounds," he said, his voice polished but laced with condescension. I agreed, hiding my scheme. He didn't suspect I'd coordinated with Ravi, who'd lined up Dr. Singh's contacts, or that I'd commissioned an outfit with a hidden pocket, its fabric a shield of my past honor. The outfit arrived on September 19th, tailored by a local seamstress from Victoria Park, Mrs. Patel, who chatted about her knitting, unaware of my mission. I tested the pocket, sliding the USB and awed inside, their weight a promise of justice. At 6:30 p.m. on September 20th, I arrived, the convention center alive with the clink of glasses and the murmur of excited doctors, the river glinting through the atrium. Khalid spotted me near the entrance, smirking. "Aisha, still taking vitals?" "Endearing," he quipped. I nodded, my cane steady, my pocket ready. At 7:45 p.m., he began his speech, launching into a tale of his medical legacy and unveiling a new program echoing mine. I scanned the scene, Yusuf clapping awkwardly, Ethan beside him, media filming, Fatima sipping water with a smug grin, Zara adjusting her father's notes. At 7:58 p.m., as Khalid praised his vision, I edged toward Ravi, my pulse a drumbeat. I slipped him the USB and awed it, whispering, "Now." He nodded, texting Dr. Singh. At 8:02 p.m., board members stormed in, badges glinting under the atrium lights, shouting, "Investigation underway." Khalid's proposal fell, his face paling as they seized his tablet. The awards ceremony descended into a whirlwind of pandemonium, attendees scattering like startled pelicans fleeing the convention center's sleek hall, media cameras pivoting to capture every frame of the unfolding family drama, Khalid's protests drowned by the authoritative commands of board members that reverberated off the glass atrium, the lights casting fractured beams across the scene. Yusuf stood stunned near a refreshment table, Ethan's hand on his shoulder offering silent support, his eyes wide with shock as the truth hit, while doctors murmured in clusters, their professional world shaken by the scandal. I stood tall, my outfit a badge of my hard-earned resolve forged over 10 years, my cane a symbol of strength that had carried me through the toughest shifts, my heart pounding with a mix of 10 years of vindication and the bittersweet ache of a family nearly lost to Khalid's deceit that had cast a long shadow. Board members swarmed the stage, their dark suits a stark contrast to the venue's modern decor of steel beams and carpet, cuffing Khalid as he roared, "This is a setup, Aisha, you'll pay," his voice cracking with the desperation of a man watching his clinic dissolve. They read charges, plagiarism that stripped his awards, falsified records that undermined his reputation, ethical violations that endangered patients. Each were a hammer blow to his legacy, the list growing with a $220,000 fine for unaccounted grants that funded his mansion, their voices steady as they recited the litany. Ravi approached, his voice a lifeline amid the din of shouting and camera shutters. "They've got him, Aisha. You've done it. His prescription's up," he said, his eyes alight with the thrill of the exposé. The media frenzy was immediate. Headlines like Hassan's medical fall and doctor's 10-year revenge blazed across screens by 10 p.m., my name a murmur of awe in the chaos that swirled through the center, microphones thrust toward me like syringes seeking a dose. Khalid turned to me, his face flushed with rage that mottled his once composed features, sweat beading on his brow like condensation on a thermometer, his white coat now rumpled as board members tightened their grip on his arms, his posture slumping under the weight of defeat. "You! After all this time, you petty little vital taker? You've destroyed our clinic!" he bellowed, his voice breaking with the desperation of a man whose diagnosis was terminal, his hands shaking as he pointed at me with a trembling finger. I met his gaze, unflinching despite the tremor in my own hands that betrayed the adrenaline coursing through me, my voice clear and resonant with the strength of 10 years of silent suffering that had honed my resolve. "You said I'd never lead this clinic, Khalid, that I was only fit for taking vitals. I proved you wrong, with evidence that outlasts your lies, with grit that outran your schemes, with every patient I cared for while you stole and faltered. This is my payback for me, for Yusuf whose future you shadowed, for every nurse you crushed, for every program you sabotaged with your ego." He lunged, his fist raised in a futile gesture of defiance that spoke of his last grasp at control, but board members restrained him with firm hands, dragging him out as Fatima sobbed uncontrollably, her water glass slipping to shatter on the floor in a spray of shards, a symbol of her fallen status. Yusuf rushed to me, his voice breaking through the noise like a lifeline tossed into a stormy ward. "Mummy, I didn't know. I'm sorry for trusting him," he said, tears streaking his face as he wrapped his arms around me, the first embrace in months that mended a rift I'd feared growing. I hugged him back, the warmth of his body against mine a balm to the wounds of the past, Ethan nodding in support with a quiet smile, a bridge to a future reclaimed from the charts of my past. The crowd buzzed with reporters, their microphones thrust toward me like scalpels seeking a cut, but I turned away, my victory a private cure burning bright within, a remedy no scandal could counteract. The fallout was swift and relentless, a treatment that dismantled the remnants of Khalid's medical empire. Board members suspended him from Hassan Health, seizing clinics in the CBD and records rooms in Joondalup where charts sat silent, files from patient logs hauled away in boxes, freezing his personal accounts that held the profits of his deceit, halting his galas across Western Australia where he'd once presided, while inspectors raided his Nedlands mansion for evidence of fraud, uncovering a safe with falsified records. His network collapsed like a failed procedure, his reputation tarnished beyond repair, hospitals distancing themselves with press releases, his name a cautionary tale whispered in wards from Albany to Broome, a fallen doctor replaced by silence. The media dug deeper, uncovering a $110,000 slush fund for bribed auditors that funded his rottenest unit and Fatima's wardrobe, a detail that sent shockwaves through the WA medical sector and prompted a state inquiry, the scandal dominating morning news. Yusuf reconciled fully, joining me in learning first aid for our flat, while Omar and I planned a beachside getaway to a home we'd finally saved for, the scent of salt a promise of peace. Fatima vanished from gala circuits, her social circle dissolving like a receding tide, and Zara, Khalid's daughter, distanced herself, seeking a medical role under a new mentor to escape the taint. I didn't gloat. My goal was justice, not destruction, a balance I'd learned from years of healing. But the sight of Khalid's fall brought a profound peace that filled the hollow left by his words, a quiet satisfaction that settled in my soul like a well-dosed prescription. That morning, at 10:55 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on September 6, 2025, I sat with a cup of mint tea that glowed green in the sunlight, the news confirming his suspension on a muted radio, a letter from Khalid in hand, its envelope creased from my grip. Aisha, I was wrong. Help me, it pleaded, his handwriting shaky with the defeat that had finally overtaken him, the ink smudged as if by tears of regret. I didn't reply, the past too raw, my strength too hard-won to soften now, the paper crumpling in my fist as I set it aside to focus on the clinic ahead. Months later, his hearing began in a courtroom in Perth Magistrates Court, board members and inspectors wielding my evidence with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel, Priya's testimony a damning narrative of medical corruption, and Dr. Singh's audit records a final chart, the gallery filled with former nurses who nodded in silent support, their scrubs traded for suits. I attended the first day, my presence a silent testament to my journey from vital taker to this moment, seated beside Yusuf and Omar, whose hand I held tightly, and watched Khalid's defense crumble under the weight of truth. Dozens of former staff stepping forward with tales of pressure and theft, their voices a chorus of validation that echoed through the room. The judge, a stern jurist with a passion for healthcare and a gavel that rang like a monitor beep, ordered a full investigation, hinting at a potential deregistration and fines that loomed like a critical condition, his ruling a vindication of my 10-year wait. Yusuf and I launched Hassan Healing Hub, restoring family pride with community care, hiring Priya as a nurse whose expertise bridged my past and present, while Omar retired from paramedic work to teach swimming to kids, his hands finding new purpose in water. I visited the clinic once, its rooms silent with the absence of Khalid's voice, its charts a memory of my youth, a monument to his greed and my redemption that stood tall in my heart. My revenge, 10 years in the making, was not just justice served with a prick of spite. It was my rebirth, a clinic reclaimed from the wreckage of his sabotage, a testament to the resilience I'd always carried within, a cure that grew stronger with each patient I healed.